It's your place. It's your house. It's your meeting.
We'll give one more minute. Celeste just went to the restroom and we'll get started. So how long you guys been here?
We've been in this building for just over 2 years. So,
Wow.
Fantastic space.
yeah, we started from scratch. Basically, we gutted the whole thing, and it used to be kind of old 70s style, and we just gutted it, kicked everybody out, and then moved in. Hey, Celeste, how you doing?
Okay, let's go ahead and open the meeting. This is Investment Council for April 21st. We're here at IDX, and Chad, you're going to give us a little kind of overview of what you guys do. And
Sure, yeah. Well, first of all, welcome everybody. We enjoy having you guys here. Actually, I'm particularly excited. I'm a product of the Oregon Public School System. My kid is in the public school system himself now. He's 14, so I'm very excited to see you guys working so diligently with this program and really concentrating on all the way from birth to graduation with education, particularly in technology, because that's my area of interest. So thank you for all the work you're doing, and welcome. IDX is about 14 years old, and we started as a kind of a bootstrap company. We didn't have any outside investment. It's a typical entrepreneurial story. Myself and my co-founder started it with a couple credit cards, and literally it was one of those stories where you're either out of the basement or out of your garage. And in fact, our first office was the University of Oregon Law School, the free office in the corner there. Don't tell anybody. This is recorded, right? So great internet connection and great free rent for about 6 months. So after that, like I said, we bootstrapped the company. We found an opportunity, and every single year we just basically built the business on the customer base we built the year before. Fast forward 14 years, we have 54 employees. We're growing like gangbusters, and we're absolutely dedicated to recruiting locally. We're big on education, which is, once again, I'm really excited you guys are here and using the space, and really want to try to even give back to Eugene in particular, because it's our local community, but Oregon in general as well. So very important, very excited to have you guys here, and that's our story.
what's your software do?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we do real estate-based software for real estate agents. So if you're a real estate agent with basically a private label search engine that you plug into a website, and it allows your customers and your visitors to search the MLS listings. That's all we do all day long. It doesn't sound that complicated, but it's actually quite intense, and we really have a 54 bright, intelligent, rock star employees here. So
So you have a computer science background then?
not at all.
Good.
I'm smart enough to hire people smarter than me. So
Talking to the mirror.
yeah.
So what's your background in?
Business. Yeah. Kind of an entrepreneur. I think I've had 14 business failures and 2 successes. So very, very typical serial entrepreneur. So
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Well, thank you so much for having us, Jeff.
absolutely. Thanks for being here.
Thank
Yep.
you.
All right. So let's do introductions, and then we'll go on to the director's update. So Jim Pyro from General.
Ramona Flores and Township.
Eric Muscle, Timcon.
Celeste Edmond, Lunar Logic.
Mark Lewis, Chief Education Office.
Okay.
We haven't been on the phone.
I don't think anyone's
Yeah,
on
Herb
the
said he's going to
phone.
call in, but
We haven't, yes.
okay, let's turn to, we got our full agenda today. It's really going to be an interesting day, and hopefully you'll find value in the conversation. Good progress on what we've accomplished to date, but Mark, can we give us an update?
Yeah, just very, very briefly. First of all, I'd like to thank IDX and Celeste for all of your work there to help set this up, as well as Matt Sayre and Heidi from the STEM Hub here in Linn County for doing a lot of legwork to make this happen. So thank you very much. Very, very briefly, we, as you know, we had an April STEM Hub convening where we met in Newport with all of the STEM Hub leadership, and then other members of their teams came. It was 2 days focused a lot on building the capacity of the hubs, sharing best practices, attending to issues around equity of access and opportunity. And so there was a lot to kind of get people thinking about how they can improve serving each and every student here in Oregon around this. So that was a really positive convening, and Chrissy and the folks at ODE, Deb and Sue, were really, led the way there in creating that agenda and making it a really positive experience. A quick legislative update, as you may have heard, several bills have died this week. So that's a positive thing given the number of bills that were in the legislature this session. So several hundred fell by the wayside. Unfortunately, including House Bill 297, which or Senate Bill 297, sorry, that had proposed the combined STEM and CTE Council. But our conversations with the Department of Education and the Higher Education Coordinating Commission and the Chief Ed Office around the elements of that bill, I think have really moved our thinking forward in terms of how can a council such as this one, how can we collaborate better in the system and leverage our individual strengths to really move the system forward. So that was really, I think, positive overall. I also want to, just as a final note, you're going to hear from Laura Roach. She's the first one up, but Laura has announced her retirement and actually is off the clock. She's technically on vacation for like 6 months that she's accumulated accrued vacation time, having worked so long with the Department of Education and really leading the efforts to build an effective career technical education system here in Oregon at the same time when funding was being cut dramatically and a loss of tremendous amount of support and fiscal support for CTE programs. And so now, really under her leadership, have turned the corner on that. So thank you, Laura, very, very much for all of your work. She approaches this work with great humility. I know you don't like the spotlight, Laura, at all, but behind the scenes and in front of the spotlight at the legislature, you've been a true leader, and I know that you carry the perspective of educators and students with you every single day in all your work. So thank you so much for your service. Thank you. So, thank you. So with that, we'll hear from you.
Before we go there, did anyone attend the STEM Hub? And did you attend yet?
Oh,
any perspective on what you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a couple things happened in the last 2 weeks that I'd like to tell the board that's very refreshing. Is number one, it was great going to the STEM Hub conclave again because you get there and you realize this is actually working. It was, we had conversations 6, 7 years ago. Wouldn't it be great to be able to get everybody who's interested in STEM in the same room occasionally and talk about it? Lo and behold,
Those were our typical ones, and we just, and then there was some legwork there, the insurance piece, but our school district insurance, we were able to implement, and I did this took care of it. Those companies, another big manufacturing company, Greenberg Industries, they're a writer on our insurance, so we have policy, they're a writer, so when I send a 17-year-old, 16-year-old there, they are on certified, insurance companies on board. That allowed us to do that. That was a big deal, actually.
Oh, that's a huge deal. Just don't ever gloss over the interaction piece, because that, again, is extraordinarily unique, something that we've had discussions at the state level over and over and over again. And there's often pushback that it's impossible, can't do it for some of the reasons you just mentioned, but it sounds like you do it. Are you good?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's work. I mean,
Yeah.
for a one-man show, it's a challenge, but it's
Interesting.
yeah, it's a big deal. Job shadow is probably more appropriate term.
Yeah.
Although last summer I had a young man who spent the entire summer at Greenberg Industries, 16 or 17. And so I try to, it's an application process. The kids that interview better, have the better resume, get the pay. It's paid at Greenberg, which normally they're not at the high school level. But I try. It was usually one full day.
up to the level that we want. We want students coming into our program, if they choose to come into college, to be prepared to succeed into our program. So sometimes that's buying equipment that they don't have, or they don't have equipment because they don't have the professional development and they don't know how to use it. So we get them professional development, send them someplace and learn how to use the equipment and so on. Scott alluded to teacher license.
Hello.
Hi, I was trying to tap into the STEM meeting.
Me too.
Oh, okay. Doesn't look like this is the right number. All right, thank you.
Muted.
And so now, Tim, can you hear us?
I can hear you now.
Perfect. So we're going to run you through my computer here, and we'll sort it out. We need to turn that one volume down on that. Yeah. We're going to start here in just a minute.
No, you're fine. No worries.
All right. Thanks so much, Tim.
Are you projecting anything?
I don't think we're projecting anything. Did you have a slide, or do you have something that you'd like to?
Well, I just have a graph or two that kind of graphically represents a little bit of what I'm talking about. But
if you'd like.
Yeah.
What?
I'll do it right now. I'll make you a presenter if you want to do that. Okay.
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 All right, let's convene again. Great dialogue in the room as we think about all the successes that have occurred. And this next panel, you want to kick off the next panel?
Sure, you bet. So our second panelist, as I said before, is going to share with us a little bit of information about the teacher shortage, teacher licensure, dual credit, awarding credit, those kinds of challenges, and kind of what we've done to overcome it. I'd like to this time introduce my panelists, and this time I'll do more moderating because they're bringing different kinds of points of view. On the internet, on the web, we have Tim Ray, who over the past year has been working on the CTE teacher licensure as an employee at ODE. He has recently accepted another position, and he's currently in Minnesota doing some training. And so he's agreed to join us to talk a little bit about his work with TSPC and teacher licensure. We also have Dr. Steve Phillips. He's with us from Beaverton School District. He's an assistant superintendent, but he has also served as the Malheur ESD superintendent. So he can bring a couple of different perspectives, or many perspectives, I'm sure, around licensure. We also have Dan Kiernan from Redmond High School. He's an instructor in manufacturing, and he came out of industry, so he can give us a little bit of insight about what his journey has been like to CTE, and he's got a fabulous program going in Redmond. If you ever have an opportunity to go out there, this is him. This is the guy, along with his colleagues. And so this is Dan. And then finally, we've got Larry Sheen. And Larry is a dean at Schenectady Community College. But he's been working with us for a long, long time around dual credit. And as you know, Oregon has been a leader around dual credit, around CTE dual credit in particular. And Larry's been involved with it pretty much from the beginning of time.
Since the beginning of time.
Wow.
So first up, let's start with Tim. And Tim, can you tell us a little bit about what you've been working on over the past year? Give us some information about the data you came across and kind of what you've done about it.
Okay. Can you hear me all right?
Perfect.
Okay, I will try to speak as loud as I can. Apologize for not being able to be there, but and I have collected quite a bit of data from the time I started at ODE. Understand that I can only report on and be confident about data that I actually collected myself. So I have an Excel spreadsheet that I'm not sure we're going to be able to show, but that really graphs the last 5 years of CTE licensure and the steady increase that we have experienced in Oregon of CTE licensure, or what unfortunately is referred to as alternative licensure for teachers. And really what the data shows is a fairly steady increase from 2011 through 2016. I don't have 2017 data up to date, but the trend was continuing in 2017. So, and I can send this spreadsheet to Donna and she can distribute it throughout. But really, what it says is in 2011, our alternatively licensed teachers for ODE, we processed 8 applications, meaning 8 people came to ODE looking to come from industry directly into the classroom. In 2016, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. In 2016, that had increased 700% to 64 teachers. So the 700% is a little misleading, but the real thing is it increased by 8 times, from 8 teachers to 64 teachers. So the line is a really steady linear line showing pretty rapid growth, double-digit growth every year since 2011. Overall license processing, so that includes people adding endorsements, also increased, but not at the same rate. Endorsements stay fairly steady in the 80 to 100 range. So what that was telling me is, as I dug deeper and looked at the different areas of licensure within career and technical education, the biggest area of growth and need was in industrial engineering systems. So all of those, what we would traditionally call our industrial arts teachers, shop teachers, all of those types of things, had the biggest number of need every single year that we've looked at the data from 2011 to 2016. With the other areas fairly consistent. The one piece I will say that is the outlier, and that's our ag programs. And the obvious reason for that is we have a teacher prep program in agriculture. In CTE in Oregon, we have one teacher prep program, and that's it at Oregon State, and it's for ag teachers. Every other industry, every other CTE area has to get their teachers from industry. And the data suggests that across the board. every year it's highest in all the other 5 other areas except for agriculture. So that begs the question, why do we not have teacher prep programs in the other CTE areas? And for me personally, and this is me, I'm not an ODE employee, this is me personally, and this is what I tried to work on while I was there, is the true leverage point, I think, is in partnerships between community colleges and higher education. Community colleges have the technical programs, and Larry can talk to this. I've visited with Chemeketa and visited their technical programs. They can provide the people with the technical skills and the industry background. What we need is a clear pathway then to the university system in a seamless way that then in 2 years they can complete an education degree, and then we don't have to continue going to the industry well. My opinion, but I think the data supports that, in that we are continually pulling people from industry, and the need is there. 64 people would be the largest teacher prep program in the state of Oregon by quite a bit. And yet, higher ed has not stood up and said, we see the need, we'll actually participate and meet in the middle and be flexible in terms of looking at ways to integrate and partner with our technical colleges, our career, or our community colleges in these career and technical areas. And this is not an Oregon phenomenon. It's a nationwide phenomenon. But I think it's very glaring here in Oregon. If we look at that linear line, and now with the addition of Measure 98, just a personal experience for me as a director of career and technical education now for a local school district, we are going to, at Dallas, go from 2.5 programs to 6 next fall. I have to do it in a unique way because I cannot find instructors for the other 3 programs. So we're thinking outside of the box and doing things differently because I know the instructors aren't there. We don't have a pipeline for me to go to, or a university to go to say, hey, who do you have graduating this semester that is ready for a job in these career and technical education areas? So did a lot of work in talking with community colleges and in universities. We put forth a grant to work on the classes required for licensure with Eastern Oregon and Oregon State, and that opened the door for me to start having this exact conversation about this collaboration, about these partnerships, and it really received a mixed reception. I think the community colleges are excited. I'm not sure the universities are. I'm just being honest and reporting what I felt I was getting. Those of you in the room know me. I call a spade a spade. I'm not going to pull any punches. It is what it is. So that's my take. And again, I really, in the first month or 2 that I was at ODE, tried to dig into the data and really see the trends and see where we could intercept and intercede to be most effective. And I truly believe the community college and those partnerships are the front end of the pipeline. And then we work to to give flexibility to the licensure rules to help the industry folks coming in from the backside. And my true hope was for those 2 openings to meet in the middle and there to be a big gush of CTE teachers. And I think that foundation is laid. There's going to need to be more work to be done, but I truly see that as one of the possible solutions to the issue. And it is an issue, especially with 98 and the increased traction that CTE and STEM is gaining not only in Oregon but across the country. It's going to be awful to have all of this ambition and all of this excitement around these areas and then not be able to put teachers in the classroom to actually put the rubber on the road. So we're really going to have to focus on this and put our minds together and start to think outside the box to come up with the solutions. And it's going to take a concentrated effort. It's not going to be easy, but usually those things that are worth doing aren't. So I would really just encourage anybody who has leverage points in any of those spots that I've mentioned, if you can help provide the leverage, I think that's going to be key.
I don't know if you can
Sorry.
hear me.
Sorry.
Let me ask you a question. Did you identify what the demand is by sector to be able to illustrate to higher ed and where the demand is and how large the demand is versus what you're seeing on the supply side?
Oregon ODE doesn't have a clearinghouse of open positions, so it's really difficult to collect that data, and that's why we really looked at the supply side. But the supply, the way we collect the supply really points to the demand, because the only way currently, under the current rules, the only way a teacher can get an alternative certification or a CTE1 license is to have a job. That is the only way. So it really does point to both supply and demand. And that's one of the things we're trying to be more flexible on, to create that pool of CTE teachers, which unfortunately doesn't really let us see the demand as much, but at least it lets us build a supply, because that's part of what we saw also is school districts being really hesitant to even open CTE positions because they didn't know where to look. There wasn't a pool of people where they could go to, and communicating with them that really our idea is for them to pull people from industry so that we are confident that they understand their industry, they're passionate about their industry, and then we just focus on teaching them how to teach. We don't have to focus on the what they're teaching. We can teach them the how and the why, which we believe makes them a more effective educator and really allows them to connect with kids.
Okay.
I was going to say, Jim, I've had some discussions with some of the deans on this of education, different universities, and you hit on there's two things. Number one, they don't understand the demand side, so they can't make a business model from that standpoint within their own infrastructures. And then understanding, even if they have an inkling that there's an opportunity, and they obviously do, the startup costs are unavailable. And it's remarkable because the startup costs, I've heard, is anywhere between $750,000 and $2 million per university to start up a program. So it's nothing in regards to money, because that money would be easily available to the legislature if we made the right sales pitch, which means demand side has to be well fleshed out.
And I agree, but I the cost, I also think, gets mitigated if we look at it as a partnership, so that the community colleges already have the existing labs and infrastructure.
Yeah, this is.
And then we
agree.
The teachers, yeah.
Yeah.
We know what the universities are saying. We're skeptical about that.
Okay. I get that.
Tim did some work also on licensure, which we might circle back to
Right.
if we get time. But what I'd like to do is maybe turn now to the district side, the need side, the supply side, no, the demand side. Sorry. And maybe hear what
Thanks,
it's
Tim.
like from the school side to find out, what kinds of challenges you're coming up against in considering starting up new programs, or even just maintaining the program. Do you want to share your experience?
Yeah, so I only been doing it for this year, so I'm really big but I spent 8 years in out there. You can't get much more rural than finding master's degree in the content we want to teach, they have to go back to school. And they have to pay for it. And if they, if they don't love kids like we hope all educators do, then that's the rub right there. So we do have some flaws in the system. But one really interesting thing that we just had, Aloha High School, so we have soon to be 6 high schools, Aloha has a really great automotive program. And one of the things that make them great for our industry partners, they just had a diesel semi donated to the program. It's this perpetual wheel of good, pushing out good employees to them, and they keep giving back. And one of the biggest car dealerships in Beaverton came to me and said, when I sell a car, I tell the person I'm selling the car to, we're customer service. Bring your car back if there's any problems. Bring your car back if you want a car wash, if you want an oil change, anything, we're here for you. And he goes, and that's how I sold cars, and that's how it worked for me. He says, I've been having to tell my car salesman, slow down, because I can't keep my word anymore, because I don't have the workforce to change the oil, to fix this, to fix that, to take that light off that dashboard that bugs you. He goes, I've had to honestly tell my sales force, slow down. Now that's a shame. He said he could hire 12 of my people tomorrow, my kids tomorrow, if I had them ready. And he's one of 25 dealers in Beaverton. So that's obviously, lights going off in your head about, well, what am I going to do to expand a automotive program? He says, I'll give you one of my people. You just get them certified. Can you get through the muck at, he said ODE, sorry. He says, can you get through the muck? He said, can you get through that muck to get this guy licensed to teach? And I said, oh, look on. So there's ways around it, I guess. But the reason why that's happening so well is because Aloha has a reputation. And Aloha is already serving them. They just want them to serve them more. I think for a brand new program, it would be tough to get those partners lined up and ready to work with you. But they're vital. Without them, you're sound.
It's the trust aspect.
But what I hear you saying too is that there's a cycle of reciprocation, right? So the school is willing to interact with industry, be open to the needs of industry, produce those employees, and as a result gets that cycle of investments in product and people. So to me, that's reciprocation both ways. It's not one group coming to the other and saying, with our handout, as industry saying, give to us, we have to participate. Absolutely. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. In fact, I refuse to do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's always this.
Well, sometimes industry, as an industry person, sometimes I show up and say, hey, right? And so it's a good reminder for us that it has to be from both sides.
Well, and I think educators, we get a bad rap, and we probably deserve it because we're always doing this. We need more. We've got something to offer. It's a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Let me shake hands on it. I'm not begging. I think we can work together.
It becomes a team approach.
And then, of course, the college is in there, too. In our district now, Beaverton, any program, if you're not partnering with college and partnering with industry, you're not CTE. Let's call it what you are. You're an elective. You're not CTE. CTE is workforce development. CTE is pushing in this direction. You're partnering with college, and you are in that direction. If you're not that, you're an elective. You're not going to eat at the Perkins Trough anymore. None of that. It's higher standards for CTE.
Any thoughts about your experience in rural Oregon in terms of these challenges? I mean, obviously industry isn't as prevalent in rural Oregon, and Any thoughts about how you make that a stronger partnership, given industry is not as prevalent?
Yeah, rural Oregon. So so I worked with 2 counties, and we had 17 school districts, and we had 17 ag programs. So everyone, the tiny one, everyone has an ag program. And are they tied to industry? You know, they're advisory boards, or local union farmer, or a local guy at NAPA dealership, or, you know, whatever. So yeah, they're tied to industry, but it would be very difficult to have a really robust computer science program in Delaware. You know, who are you gonna really partner with? Who are you gonna let guide your instruction and help build your curriculum, and apprenticeship with, and job center with? It just, you could go to Boise, an hour away. So you just kind of have to pick and choose which programs this.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you very much for that perspective. And Steve has always been a champion for only high quality CTE, that the ones that aren't meeting. So
One last question for Steve. For high quality CTE, again, I'm a big fan of this. Incorporating STEM into that program is important, as we talked about in the welding application, ensuring that math and science are adequately integrated so the kids have a dual career pathway. You think about that in a quality CTE program?
Yeah, and I see STEM as like a pedagogy. It's a way to teach.
Yeah.
And I think good quality CTE programs, it's
integrated.
It's integrated. It's
okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
He was always a champion. Next, we have my friend Dan here. And Dan came out of industry, like I said, and has stepped into and built a fabulous program. But it hasn't always been easy, I don't believe. And maybe you could share some experiences with the council here about what it was like to get your license, what it was like to come out of the industry and to do this program around you. What's pretty high expectation for people looking at
Yeah, this is my 4th year teaching. Came out of the guitar surfboard industry. I was a designer, programmer, machinist for 20-some years. Teaching job kind of fell in my lap, and didn't know what the expectations were when I got in there. I walked into a welding shop that had no working equipment whatsoever. Not one piece of equipment worked. And the principal kind of opened the door and said, "This is your classroom." They closed the door. And, oh, I got all the stuff I need to fix. I shrugged my shoulders, and we were working on the revitalization grant. I was hired under the impression that we were going to receive this grant. We did.
Lifeline.
Well done, Laura. A1 when I walked in, and I was told I had 0 budget to do anything with. Thankfully, I had the superintendent's son in my class, and I explained to the class that we were going to be welding nursery chocolate bars for the rest of the year. Dad caught wind of that over dinner that night, came in and funded me some money to repair the equipment that I had, which was really outdated. I got through my first year. $187,000, and I went out and purchased hospitals, plasma cutters. Really cool shop. Now they have state-of-the-art welding equipment. So that was the initial struggle, was figuring out what to teach and how to teach it without the tools that I needed. The other struggle was TSPC, the licensure, on top of taking an enormous pay cut to become a teacher out of industry. I was now expected to pay for this education that wasn't really going to add any value to my program as far as I was concerned. The classes that I was being required to take, writing classes and things like that. They weren't technical writing classes, these were English classes, math and CTE, which was, I don't really know what I learned in there. I received a 4.0 through OSU. Not something I'm proud of because it was pretty elementary stuff. It cost me $7,000 or $8,000, which was a $7,000 or $8,000 pay cut.
I actually met Mark at OACTE. I didn't know who he was, and I was venting.
And I've always remembered that conversation.
I was out of here. What did you say?
Perfect.
So, since the grant, we also received another one this year for our business program. We collaborate, starting Cancer Tech, business out of the two classrooms, connected classrooms together with a Baylor. Industry, coming from industry, I knew a lot of people in local industries, so I had absolutely no problem getting partnership with this vital vision grant. They all had about 13 at the time. They all wrote letters to support what we were doing. They helped me to choose my equipment, what I should teach. I knew what they were looking for because you basically in industry skilled one another skilled workforce, and there was no income skilled workforce. So I knew what I needed to do. It's been challenging, a lot of long days. We're finally getting to the point where I'm seeing the light now. And I still need to become a better teacher because it's not something I studied to do from industry. So that's been my biggest struggle is just that management of everything. I need to learn to say no more often with various projects right now. But I think that now I have almost 50 industry partners. They're just coming to us. We're doing internships, paid internships with lots of them. Lots is a big one. And then we have small ones like Straw Propeller. But they are constantly taking kids out of my program, hiring them. The other piece is the community college. Community college has really stepped up their program. I now have all of my classes articulated with kids who get 13 credits through my classes, as well as the science and math departments inside conceptual physics into my welding class, as well as technical math. This is really helpful. Step up and turn down to the shop area, get to high level kids down there. My whole vision and goal with my classroom was to create a job shop atmosphere where we have the engineering side of things, doing SolidWorks and assemblies and things like that, and then out to the shop, programming, machining, critical inspection, things like that, and showing the kids from all aspects what it means to be in a shop and exposing them to everything so that when they do go out to industry, if you're going to be a programmer, you're going to be able to communicate with the engineer and vice versa. So they get to see both sides. They get to design things that are really impossible to build, and then go out there and figure out that they can't build it. So it changes their design and changes their all that kind of stuff. It's going to be really helpful in the industry. The partnerships are great because getting the $1,500 budget for the CNC program, I love to bring a little box with 3 tools and show my principal, here's my budget. $1,500, which consists of 3 tools that can break in a heartbeat. So the Pathways funding has been excellent. We've received $32,000 this year for the program completers. Getting my kids certified, I had 23 students get them certification this year. SolidWorks certification, MasterCam certification, and that's really important. Regardless of where they go after high school, and tell them with that DIN certification, you can go be a big maker. It's going to make a difference in the job. Getting back to the community college, articulating that, we've had a lot of support from our local college. Comes over every week and sits in with the kids as well as being certified welding inspector. We have the expanded options, so kids complete my program, ship them over to college for free. You get free college education for a couple of years. Oregon Tech down in Final Falls
degree to articulate through community college to them, which ends up saving the kids a lot of money in the end, able to get a 4-year degree. College.
Are you having any challenges getting kids into the program? How's the feeder program? Are you talking to kids in the middle school? How are kids being aware of what you have to offer?
I think right now it's word of mouth. So we're allotted 12 sections per year to teach. In the last 2 years, I've ended up with 24 sections. So I hear a lot, I wish I could have got into the program. With 2 of our CTE teachers about to retire, we don't know what we're going to do. We don't know how we're going to replace them. We don't know where to look besides industry. But I've seen it at our sister school over there, Ridgeview. They tried to stand up a dental program, trying to hire a dentist at $30,000 a year. It's never going to happen. So, it comes down to money, I think. It's scary to think that our team is kind of breaking up a little bit. I don't know what we're going to do without those 2 in there. That's my main concern right now. My program's fine. I have tons of industry coming to me, offering me anything I want. When we won the grant, we hired a CTE coordinator, which was absolutely crucial to our program. He stepped in. Industry is now offered to pay his salary if the district doesn't want to. That's how vital he is to our program. He connects us. Right now we're at the Blackness and Skills USA competition. My kids are all up there. He's there with us, so I can be here. But again, his position ran out last year, and our district decided to bring him on as an FTE, which is great. Having the support from guys like you from the top, from our CTE regional coordinators, our superintendent really supports our program, our principal supports our program, and I see that as a big struggle for other schools where they don't have that buy-in from their superintendent on down. It's impossible to run a successful program without that. The industry thing, like I said, that's just a no-brainer. What do you want? I have guys that are handing me $5,000 worth of tools to get you by. I pull my truck up, I can fill my truck with remnants all day long anywhere I want, because they know that I am becoming, it's a pipeline. There's no skilled workers out there. It's starting to turn around. I see that here in the state. And after that meeting last week with ODE, hearing some of the stats that we're #1 in manufacturing, #1 and #2, it bounces between. We have a retired Intel engineer working with us right now from a program from you guys. He's paid, and he's really helpful in helping us create what we want to create. We have people from OMAP coming in for the lean thing. I have lean simulations that we do in class. The industry support is vital. It's the funding piece, that pathway is sustaining a program. If you have a kid crash a $50,000 machine, how are we going to fix it? $1,500 budget will get your tech there. But then you got to pay for the fix your machine, parts, and that kind of thing. So I don't know much about Measure 98. Hopefully it's more funding for us. I feel like we're always needing money, but we do. And we're returning that to industry by the skill.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Clearly, Dan's another unicorn, right?
Yeah.
We're going to have a unicorn support group here.
By all means, I have a friend who lives in Redmond. His son, senior program, son didn't know what he wanted to do in life at all. He's gone through your classes, towards your classes, has now got a vision of what he's going to be. So, phenomenal job. Very proud of what you built. Thank you for your sacrifices in regards to doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we've got one last panelist, and we're behind.
Oh, yeah.
We're about 20 minutes back.
All right, tell us about dual credit, some of the challenges you have in there.
Well, I just want to,
I can't not mention this before I do my assignment. It'll be brief. Everything that's been mentioned about CTE teacher shortage is true for the community colleges. And I think of them as finding someone who's really good instructionally and has the content like a polka dotted unicorn. Speaks a second or third language. Super rare. And if, I mean, just look, in the room you have Scott. He was pulled away from a high school to a community college to teach. And that's kind of sad in a way, isn't it? Right? We're kind of pirating one another.
That's what we do in industry all day long.
Yeah, and we're behind the eight ball. And so anything that we can do to kind of help both on the secondary and post-secondary side to bring that up would be good. Real briefly, you've heard what the challenge is, I think, when it comes to articulating CTE courses. And Dan is a great example of going from what was a challenge to now it's a great success. And Scott as well, is that when a lot of times the high school will either not have the equipment or the person that's been brought in to teach doesn't have that particular set of content knowledge or relevant recent industry experience in what they're trying to do at the college. And to your point, Jim, in welding, for instance, we have a lot of fabulous ag programs in the state of Oregon. A lot of them teach welding, but they're not teaching the geometric tolerancing, they're not teaching precision measurement with it, they're not able to do the blueprint reading on it. So they're teaching welding. And so there's not that depth and breadth that would allow us to be able to articulate. That teacher's qualified from an educational standpoint to teach. It's not about having a master's degree and that sort of thing. It's about being able to do in their classroom what they need to do in order to actually articulate that. We can connect and we can align, but articulation becomes difficult at that point. Dan's program, we can articulate all day. He has the equipment. His student, one of his students came up to me at the FFA State Convention and bent my ear, and he was Travis, I think he said it. Fantastic student. You know, he speaks the language, he knows what he wants to do, and he really gets it because Dan is an expert and he's tooled up. He has the program.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you for the opportunity to come see you and share with you some real-life experiences. Thank you.
Thank you so
much.
much.
Come to Shemeketa and see
Absolutely.
the new facilities. Here's my business card.
Thank you so
We're
much.
barely a year or 2 years into it. I'd love to.
Thanks so much, Larry.
Would you guys be able to host us sometime for a meeting?
In Redmond?
Meeting space, Redmond, or anywhere?
Oh, yeah, we could.
Thanks, Dan.
Oh, yeah.
It's good to see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nice little surprise. I didn't know who was coming, and it's like, oh. We had dinner together 3 years ago.
Is Tim on?
Tim is,
He just met the TSPC
Yeah.
to revisit.
yeah, Laura. We
Can you up on?
we may need to keep it and have you come back to have some additional detail. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Right. Scheduled because of the next step.
No, we just went a little long on the last two panels.
Okay,
That's all.
Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura. And I'm coming from Oregon CIS, which is a career information system, and I have some slides and a handout. But one of the things, I think the reason that Mark brought me here is we're used throughout the state, and we've just received a National Science Foundation grant along with faculty at the University of Oregon. We're located at the University of Oregon to help students with disabilities access STEM-related occupations and programs of study. And so I'm here to talk a little bit about CIS and the foundation for how this will be delivered, but then to focus in on the NSF grant. So, because I think it really is relevant to our academics.
Okay, we're just trying to get you this.
We have a presentation.
Yes, we have a presentation. 7. Not the, it's the,
7.
it's the PowerPoint, right? There we go.
So the concept of a career information delivery system was started here in Oregon, and it went national. But it was started by an Oregon labor market economist back in 1972. His name is Bruce McKinley. And he wanted to create a tool that would remove barriers so that everybody could create and visualize what an accurate plan would be to access the career and education and occupations they're interested in, to build literacy around the education markets. Thank you. And so just a couple ways, if you look at the second screen, we're used throughout Oregon in a variety of different sectors. We're in all the workforce employment offices, we're in vocational rehabilitation. And so we're a cross-sector tool, and we partner throughout our system to help remove barriers. So for example, we work with the state library. There's a tool called Learning Express, which gives practice tests from everything from plumbing, licensure, up through SATs and GREs. And in order to remove the barrier of having to have a library card, that link is in CIS, so anybody can go out and get that. The other thing I mentioned related to that is we're self-funded. So that means all of those offices and organizations have to license us every year, which keeps us relevant and make sure that we're working to meet the needs of people who are actually practitioners within the state. We've never had 100% of the high schools. Usually we're between 70% of the school districts and 90% of the school districts license CIS every year. So I'm going to move to the next slide, which is talking about our purpose. And our whole goal is to empower Oregonians. Should I be doing this?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you. I work in technology. But to empower Oregonians and reflect the state laws. So eventually a number of states came back to Oregon and said, let us help. Or can we join this network? And so we're a part of a national network, but every single state that is CIS focuses on localizing that information for Oregon. And so a couple examples is we have over 1,000 Oregon-specific scholarships that we update every year. And so those can be coded in all sorts of different ways. And we crosswalk the licensing requirements to any barriers for people who have a felony background. So that if someone's starting a program of study in a community college, they're not going to go through that credential, get to the end, which I know of 2 people it just happened to last year, and then not be able to get licensed in that occupation. So it's about a career planning site that we're part of. One of our current development projects is a certificate sort, which is what we're calling it right now. It came through the Department of Labor, working with WorkSource offices, and CIS has all sorts of details about programs of study in the state. I report to a public board, which is comprised of representatives from all the different cross sectors or the sectors that use CIS. And we have an inclusion policy as to what kind of schools we can include. And so we include links to career pathways to help people plan. And the WIOA fund is going to help us create a tool that people can go in and find training at less than a 2-year degree level that would be relevant for their needs. So for example, I live in Washington counties and Clackamas counties. I need a training program that's less than 35 weeks in length. And I need childcare. What's out there? And those factors have been identified by an advisory panel coming through, but they're also open. And so as things move forward, if they wanted to have a STEM factor, so people can come in and say, I'm looking for programs of study that are STEM specific, those types of factors could be added in, because our full goal is to help empower Oregonians to take advantage of opportunities here in the state. So we modify our content or our tools to help people take advantage of opportunities. So we have portfolios and we have reporting capabilities. So for example, a teacher wants to find out which students have saved welding because they can set up a career learning experience, or they want to have an industry tour. They can generate reports on what students have saved in that portfolio. Those portfolios are also transferable. And so there's 21 different versions of CIS out there. One is OHSU has a tool that they use for their employees and asking represented positions to help their employees move through the system. And so each version of CIS is customized to help the people that are being served. The high school version has high school tools to help with the documentation of the diploma requirements. And that portfolio then can transfer. So it can start in middle school and go to high school and community college and then
university or wherever that individual is going. And then directly on the way in which CIS currently uses STEM, we have an occupation filter. So someone can go in and say, I want to see all the STEM occupations in Oregon. And that filter can be filtered by wages, and it can also be filtered by level of education. There are 24 scholarships that explicitly reference STEM. Of course, there are hundreds more related to science, technology, engineering, and math, but 24 are explicit to STEM. And then we have a tool that helps connect volunteers, and that has a STEM activity type. But those are the way it's currently.
Laura, to what extent does the CIS actually help people decide on career interests, potentially?
Hopefully a lot. Because I think that there are a couple things in career development that aren't taught elsewhere in the curriculum. Goal setting skills, that's just not really taught. Decision-making skills is another. So there are a number of tools to help people manage and make decisions. So what kind of high school activities should I do if they're coming from middle school? Or what kind of school? So there's tools in there, sort of a financial aid sort, looking for scholarships you might apply for, a school sort. One of my favorite examples comes from a counselor in Central Oregon who called up wanting to know how to use school sort, and she had a student that wanted to get a degree in kinesiology. He only wanted to get an associate's degree, and he wanted to have a scholarship in cross country. And so they put those factors in that school sort, found schools that would do that, and he went to school for free. And so those types of tools let people put in decisions. And of course, there's lots of assessments and other tools in CIS that can help. So our current project that will start this fall is a National Science Foundation grant. And this is a partnership between the Secondary Special Education and Transition, local schools in Oregon. We're going to be working with local schools in Clackamas County and down in Brookings. And the purpose is to increase STEM awareness and engagement for students with disabilities. And with that, we will, there's lots of reasons for it. I want to give a little bit of context. I'm very much a practitioner. I value and respect researchers a great deal, but that's really not my area of expertise. So this could be talked about a lot longer, but there's a lot of reasons why focusing on students with disabilities is really important to our success as a state and also our success within STEM. And CIS is going to be the delivery mechanism. So we're going to be building tools that will allow educators and students to build self-efficacy related to STEM within a larger career development platform. And so that to me is really important, is that we're not just driving them into STEM, but we're giving them context of how STEM fits within all of the labor market. And it's going to be an iterative process. So our next model shows how the STEM teams will be developed. So it's local STEM teams, and they're going to help build that along with us. And they'll build local action plans. And those local action plans will be saved or shared among the state and among everybody who's involved. It'll include school-based learning experiences. And our anticipated results are to come out with defined experiences that have the most efficacy or the most impact on helping students build STEM identities. Also, what we can do in terms of professional development to help teachers scale up in terms of knowledge of STEM within disabilities if they're special education teachers. And I think another one that's really important to me is how do you broaden participation from diverse populations within the state in order to help them see themselves within a STEM field and a STEM career. As a consortium, CIS, we're a consortium. So one thing that if we build under a research grant or we build under something else, it's shared across the system. So these tools, while they're being built under the auspices of this particular foundation grant, once they're developed and once they're tested, they can be shared with other types. So it could go out to all high schools or all community colleges. And a couple tools that I just mentioned is we're going to be building an inverse report. So there's a number of different assessments in CIS, some formal and some informal career development assessments. And students take those and then they get their results. And we'll build a tool that they can click on a button, for example, and see how their scores on those assessments, how STEM occupations fit within that larger score. So it's building that STEM identity within that larger platform of career development. We're going to be building resources, components for students with disabilities. One of the things we're doing is populating CIS with a number of role models of adults with disabilities working in STEM fields so they can see themselves and see, someone has their disability, they can say, oh, well, this person who's blind works for NASA or is a programmer, and they can really see how they might connect. And then an interactive, graphically driven transition plan. So the work starts this fall. We're pretty excited. It's great. Yeah.
Check your disabilities, both learning disabilities as well as physical disabilities, both. So.
Yes. We will not, with this particular model, we're not going to be building, and it could be behavioral disabilities as well, but not a lot of cognitive disabilities just because of the subject.
And Laura's been fantastic. She's been on the Career and College Readiness team that has been meeting for 4 years now or so. She was part of the data, or is part of the data and metrics team as well, so has been instrumental in taking the Brookings STEM taxonomy and implementing that into our career guidance system. So, there's a lot of synergies here, and I know that she could get down and dirty with the entire, the tool itself, but it's a fantastic platform and a resource for our students in our state. So thank you, Laura, for all that you've done here. Yeah,
Very good.
All right.
Okay, Elevate Lane, our STEM hub here in the local area.
I just stepped out, but that's all right. Well, hi.
Hello, I'm Erin Maloney. I didn't make it onto the agenda.
Sorry, Erin.
I've been working on Lane STEM with Heidi since December.
Oh, okay. Okay. You're not going to join us for lunch?
Have to present.
All right.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
Oh, it says a PDF.
Use the bottom, but
yeah.
We should talk as much about OSU.
yeah, I think it serves some further conversations by the council on about education and
Get those people in a room.
yeah.
The program.
Well, and maybe this is something that what we can do as part of the process is to actually speak to our post-secondary partners in the HEC around educator prep programs in the state geared towards CTE.
It's been discussed, it's back a moment, and then it just seems to relax.
Yeah.